There are jitters across local civil society organizations this afternoon as millions of USAID funding hangs in the balance.
A political showdown is looming in the JLP stronghold of Central Clarendon as Delroy Williams has confirmed his interest in the seat.
Mark Golding says the Prime Minister's commitment to addressing the final court in Phase 2 of the constitutional reform process is a con.
Why, Andrew? Why you want to con me and tell me say it's Phase 2 when I know you can't be trusted when it comes to anything you say, and we will not be conned.
JUTC launches new route to St. Mary.
Taxi operators protest poor road conditions in Waltham Park Road.
In news from the rest of the world, despite an increase in murders, Bahamas records a 10% reduction in crime overall in 2024.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says proposed tariffs to be paused for 30 days.
In headline sports, Jamaica's Olympic high jump finalist Romain Beckford opened season with a second place finish at World Continental Tour meeting in the US.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, political battle lines are being drawn in the JLP stronghold of Central Clarendon as the party's Deputy General Secretary and close ally of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Delroy Williams, confirmed that he has applied to represent the party in the seat. He's expected to face stiff competition from Mike Henry's preferred choice, Maypen's Mayor Joel Williams. You'll hear more.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, are you worried about the effects of Trump tariffs on the Jamaican economy? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, we'll bring you a paid rebroadcast of Senator Apka Fitz-Henley's presentation during the State of the Nation debate.
At 7:45, Trinidad and Tobago's Commissioner of Police, Erla Herwood Christopher, has been suspended from office pending the outcome of a criminal probe into the acquisition of 2 sniper rifles for the Strategic Services Agency. You'll hear more.
We'll have all these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Monday afternoon, it's Monday, February 3, 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The looming restructuring of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, is sending shock waves through civil society and human rights groups in Jamaica. This comes after U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order halting nearly all international spending for 90 days pending a comprehensive review. On Monday, USAID's future was thrown into doubt when the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, announced plans to fold the agency into the State Department. Nationwide News reached out to several local agencies that receive USAID project funding, but only one agreed to speak with us on the record. Siobhan Campbell has the story.
Established in the early 1960s, USAID administers humanitarian aid on behalf of the U.S. government worldwide. It operates in more than 60 countries, including Jamaica. It finances initiatives across several sectors, including health, food security, and human rights. Nationwide News contacted 5 local civil society and human rights groups that depend on USAID for funding. Only one spoke on the record. The rest declined to do so, fearing reprisals or worsening tensions with the new Trump administration. Trump, a vocal critic of foreign aid, has singled out USAID. And his appointee to run his new Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk, accused USAID of being run by criminals and radical lunatics. On Monday, the agency's website went offline and staff were instructed to stay home. Also on Monday, Secretary Rubio accused the leadership of USAID of insubordination. He declared that he was its acting head. Rubio says the agency would be absorbed into the State Department with its spending now tied directly to U.S. national interests. The funding freeze has already forced one Jamaican health development group to slash its workforce by more than 80%. And there are fears that even the drastic cut may not be enough to sustain its operations. Another civil society organization warned that critical projects are at risk of closure due to funding shortfalls and staff layoffs looming. A food security and poverty relief entity speaking off the record voiced similar concerns, wary of jeopardizing their relationship with the U.S. backers. Only Equality Jamaica, an LGBT advocacy group, spoke openly. Executive Director Glenroy Murray noted that while they haven't received USAID funding recently, the U.S. policy shift will undoubtedly affect developmental organizations. Nevertheless, he vowed their advocacy will continue. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
The mayor of Maypen, Joel Williams, is accusing Deputy General Secretary of the Jamaica Labour Party and Government, Senator Delroy Williams, of disrespecting the outgoing Member of Parliament for Central Clarendon, Mike Henry. This comes after Senator Williams confirmed that he has applied to represent the party in the JLP stronghold at the next general election. Robian Williams reports.
The runoff in Central Clarendon for the JLP is shaping up to be a battle of the Williamses. Both Senator Delroy Williams and Mayor of Maypen Joel Williams are eyeing the seat with a view of replacing outgoing veteran MP Mike Henry. Senator Williams has applied to be the JLP's next Central Clarendon candidate. But Mayor Williams asserts that to his knowledge, Senator Williams has not reached out to Mr. Henry regarding his interest in the seat, a move he believes is discourteous.
He has not reached out to Mr. Henry, and for me that is total disrespect. He has been there for over 40 years. He built that constituency, and if you disrespect Mr. Henry, you disrespect me.
Senator Delroy Williams' application has stirred controversy, particularly given that Mr. Henry has long endorsed Mayor Williams as his preferred successor. When asked about this latest development, Mr. Henry says he wishes to stay out of the public glare. He notes that the JLP has its internal process to select a candidate. Mr. Henry has served as the parliamentary representative for Central Clarendon since 1980. Mayor Williams insists that Senator Williams should have shown Mr. Henry the courtesy of a discussion before submitting his application.
We're in a democracy, and if he feels that he so wishes, then that is his right to do so. But my strong objection is that Mike has been someone who served this country well, served that constituency well. I have been there with him from I was in school, so to speak. And, if you're going to come into a seat, I would expect that you would at least have some courtesy to go to the person who is the holder of the seat, the sitting member of Parliament, and say, Mike, I would, have an interest in the seat. I would like to put in my, plea for the seat. But no such thing was done. The constituency is very upset. But constituency will deal with that when the time comes.
Nationwide News understands that JLP delegates in the constituency are divided on the matter. Some believe Mayor Williams deserves the seat given his work in the constituency. Others argue that Senator Williams has brought renewed energy and is better suited for the role. Despite the impending contest, Mayor Williams remains confident that he can secure the seat for the JLP.
If you come into the constituency and listen to the base of the constituency, totally different from one or two persons who are saying something differently online. And I want to assure you, I have been in politics from way back, little boy, and everybody in a constituency will never like you. For one reason or the other, sometimes you have certain principles you will never bend on. And I can tell you for sure I am one of those persons. I have principles that I will never bend on. I rather to walk away and leave it than bend on my principles. But the base is there, and I'm pretty comfortable. I'm pretty happy where I am. If the opportunity is given, I can assure you one thing. I will take home back the seat for Central Clarendon. I know we're the base of the constituency. I know the numbers, and those are not the things that bother me what people said. I'm always a focused politician.
Nationwide News understands that Mayor Williams met this afternoon with JLP leader and Prime Minister Andrew Holness. This was part of efforts to resolve amicably the issue of who will carry the JLP banner in Central Clarendon. Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
Still on the political hustings, dancehall artist Mr. Vegas, whose given name is Clifford Smith, has apologized for alleged defamatory remarks made against PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell. The apology comes a day after Dr. Campbell threatened to sue Vegas. Dr. Campbell issued the warning while addressing the candidate presentation of Damien Crawford in Northwest St. Catherine yesterday.
But me used to overcoming challenges from your boy. First, people attacked my reputation in the most vicious way about 3 years ago. Then after that, shots fire over one station and them tell lie, say me. Them say me make it happen. Now them a come tell lie about me misallocate money. I don't work a parish council. I don't have no standing for instruct no parish council, so I can misappropriate anything. Any boy or girl will say so. Me and them are going courthouse, starting with Mr. Vegas.
That's Dr. Dayton Campbell, the PNP General Secretary. Prior to his remarks, Dr. Campbell posted on Saturday that he had instructed his attorneys at Stubbs Law to initiate legal proceedings against Vegas. In a social media post today, Mr. Vegas says he wished to publicly apologize to the PNP General Secretary for any unflattering remarks he made about him at any time. Vegas added that he does not have any information or facts about any improper behavior or activity regarding the PNP General Secretary. He ended the post by apologizing for any allegations that have been made.
Jamaicans for Justice JFJ is calling on the Holness administration to definitively declare its position on Jamaica's final appellate court. JFJ's executive director, Michael Jackson, says the continued delay by the government to provide an update on its position is unfortunate. She was speaking on the weekly JFJ-produced program Let's Talk Justice, aired on Nationwide 90 FM on Monday. Shalois Michael reports.
The government's plan to transition Jamaica into a republic has been met with serious pushback from the opposition PNP. The PNP caucus has boycotted the sittings of a joint select committee reviewing the legislation to transition Jamaica into a republic. Opposition leader Mark Golding has declared that his members will not return to the committee unless they get answers from the government regarding the country's final court. The opposition has been voicing its support for the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, to be Jamaica's final court. The government has yet to give an ultimate decision on the matter, but they have said those discussions will be held in Phase 2 of the constitutional reform process. Michael Jackson says such a delay is unbecoming.
It is unfortunate that the government has taken so long to make their position known on the Privy Council versus the CCJ. We know through utterances and past statements by past leaders where the thought processes were that the Jamaica Labour Party wanted a final court here in Jamaica. And I believe that Minister Malahoo Fort indicated that that is where the position of the government is at the moment. I stand corrected if that isn't the case, but that's what I remember hearing from the last Joint Select Committee.
According to her, if the plan is to make the CCJ Jamaica's final court, the government must provide an update on any research being done on why it has reached that conclusion.
If that is the position of the government for a final court here, I don't think that is feasible. But at the end of the day, the government must indicate, have they done any research as to some of the judgments and so on coming out of the CCJ? Have they done any economic feasibility research about establishing a final court here in Jamaica, especially when our justice system already has significant challenges? I think those types of answers would be quite critical for us to even start having a conversation about a final court here in Jamaica, which most legal minds are saying it's not a feasible option at this point. And I wouldn't want the government to be putting a carrot in front of the eyes of the Jamaican people that they know has no economic feasibility at this point, or logistical feasibility, rather than moving towards the CCJ.
Ms. Jackson is urging both the government and opposition to reach a consensus on the matter.
I would urge both political parties to come together, have some conversation between the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, because consensus must be reached on some critical matters, because you cannot go to Senate and have this bill moved to a referendum unless 2/3 majority is agreed or achieved at the Senate level, because otherwise, if you're to move without the consensus of the opposition, you're going to need 3/5 of the electorate voting in that referendum to say, I agree with the bill as you're proposing. And that's going to be a tall task to achieve.
Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Mark Golding has described the Prime Minister's commitment to settle the country's final appellate court in Phase 2 of the constitutional reform process as a con. Golding was addressing PNP supporters in northwest St. Catherine on Sunday. The opposition leader has insisted the removal of the British monarch as Jamaica's head of state should be twinned with accepting the appellate jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice.
Jamaica helped to be part of the design to make sure the court is independent and strong with men of intellect and integrity to adjudicate the cases of the people. And the court uses audiovisual technology and it moves from island to island so you can take your case there if you need to and it don't cost you an arm and a leg. And I say to Andrew Holness again, why you want to deprive the people of Jamaica of access to justice, which is their fundamental right? Why, Andrew? Why you want to con me and tell me say it's Phase 2 when I know you can't be trusted when it comes to anything you say? And we will not be conned. We want justice for the people now.
Mark Golding. The opposition leader says if there's not a proper resolution on the issue, the show will not go on.
I want constitutional reform, and we have been fighting for it for decades. We want to establish a republic. We want full sovereignty for our people. Time come for Jamaica to believe in itself and run its own affairs. But we're not into this piecemeal approach where they're putting the cart before the horse. Justice is important for the people, and we stand up for justice. And we say, if you want to move forward, come and talk to us with respect and give us some good argument. Otherwise, the show will not go on.
Mark Golding. Mr. Golding has made the decision to withdraw the PNP caucus from sittings of the Joint Select Committee reviewing the bill to make Jamaica a republic. He says they will not return until the matter is addressed by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is...
It's 17 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Homeowner Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
Continuing the news, taxi operators and irate residents blocked sections of Waltham Park Road in St. Andrew on Monday. The residents were protesting the poor road conditions and the presence of wastewater along several sections of the busy thoroughfare. According to one protester, the situation has become unbearable.
See the water green and grow morass. You understand? Morass. I'm living at this. Every day people are driving at this. Man, I'm wait till the whole of the road mash up with that before they pay attention. So I say we will take action and come like nothing now go on.
The protesters burned debris and used old appliances to block the roadway. They say while there was recent patching, the work was poorly done, which caused further problems. The taxi operators say they have had to spend significant sums to repair damage to their vehicles.
Most of the road, you have part of the road where water settle because the road is at level. And then part they keep on mashing up and sending down a lot of big hole in the road. And Prime Minister now drive around this side. You understand? Taximan alone I feel it running because guess what now? We are bus tire, we are chop tire, we are chain ball joint, we are chain tire and we are chain rocket. But on Sunday we are bedroom and everything. The thing is this. as I was saying to you, the part them up on the road where a damage, you see a water damage in part. So you put concrete in them structure there. Just like a couple meters away from where we're standing right now. Yes,
a taxi operator in Waltham Park Road, St. Andrew.
Meanwhile, the National Works Agency, the NWA, says work is set to begin on sections of Waltham Park Road in St. Andrew. The manager of communications and customer services at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, provided the update with our news centre following a protest on Monday.
In respect to Waltham Park Road, we intend to do some drain cleaning in the space as well as some temporary reinstatement to the section of the road that is in a state of disrepair. We are going to be taking these 2 steps as we prepare to seek the requisite funds, carry out more permanent repairs in this space.
Mr. Shaw says the team is considering the use of concrete to mitigate against the wastewater along the thoroughfare.
Having regard to the nature of the location, meaning a lot of water flow in the area. And so we are contemplating the use of concrete in this space. A decision is yet to be made on that, but certainly we are going to be doing some drain cleaning and some temporary reinstatement work to make it as easier for the motoring public to traverse.
Stephen Shaw, Manager of Communications and Customer Services at the NWA.
And the National Water Commission, NWC, says it does not operate a sewage network along Waltham Park and East Roads in St. Andrew, where the protest actions took place earlier today. The NWC says the ongoing overflow issue does not fall under the NWC's purview.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
In regional news, the Bahamas has recorded a 10% reduction in overall crimes in 2024. This is according to statistics provided by the Royal Bahamas Police Force on Monday. The police commissioner says despite the overall reduction in crime, murders, unlawful sexual intercourse cases, and attempted armed robberies increased over the period. She says homicides increased by 9%, with 120 murders in 2024 compared to 110 in 2023. 105 murders were recorded in New Providence, 12 in Grand Bahama, and 3 in the Family Islands district. But the commissioner notes that the murder clear-up rate for 2024 was 62%. Unlawful sexual intercourse jumped by 5% from 134 in 2023 to 141 last year. Robbery and armed robbery decreased by 16 and 28% respectively, but attempted armed robbery increased by 29%.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced that U.S. President Donald Trump has agreed to a 30-day pause in planned tariffs. The announcement comes as leader of Ontario, Canada's most populous province, says American companies will be banned from provincial government contracts until the U.S. ends the tariffs President Donald Trump imposed on Canada. Ontario Premier Doug Ford also emphasized that his government would be ripping up its $100 million Canadian dollar contract with Elon Musk's satellite internet company, Starlink. Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau spoke on Monday about the 25% import tax on Canadian goods announced at the weekend. The tariff is expected to begin on Tuesday. Trump said in the Oval Office on Monday that he and Trudeau had a good talk, but raised a number of issues he saw as trade irritants.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour. There are jitters across local civil society organizations this afternoon as millions of USAID funding hangs in the balance.
A political showdown is looming in the JLP stronghold of Central Clarendon as Delroy Williams has confirmed his interest in the seat.
Mark Golding says the Prime Minister's commitment to addressing the final court in Phase 2 of the constitutional reform process is a con.
Why, Andrew? Why you want to con me and tell me say it's Phase 2 when I know you can't be trusted when it comes to anything you say, and we will not be conned.
Taxi operators protest poor road conditions in Waltham Park Road.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6. I can take it.
If you owe the NWC for more than 2 years, your aged debt may qualify for a 30%, 35%, 40%, or even up to 50% discounts, depending on its age and other special circumstances. Visit nwcjamaica.com for further information. Don't delay. Let's hear from you today. Dial 888-225-5692 or 888-CALL NWC. Get your share from the NWC's bucket full of goodies, serving you in so many ways.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Champions Cavalier and Veer United are locked up at 1 apiece at sports time in the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League game currently on at the Stadium East Field. Striker Jalmaro Calvin shot the champions in front after 9 minutes with a strong left-footed effort from inside the box. However, Kevon Atkinson equalized for Veer in the 21st minute, tapping in after some good work from Tyreek McGee. In the second game of the doubleheader, Arnett Gardens will come face-to-face with Tivoli Gardens. That game scheduled to kick off at 7:45. And Chelsea moved back into the top 4 of the English Premier League this afternoon thanks to a come-from-behind 2-1 win over West Ham United at Stamford Bridge. Jared Bowen shot West Ham ahead after 42 minutes. However, Pedro Neto and an own goal from Wan-Bissaka 10 minutes apart in the second half did the job for Chelsea to be on 43 points in 4th place.
It was a mistake here by Colwell, and Bowen is back, and West Ham lead at Stamford Bridge.
Palmer. Oh, in it goes! How did he manage that? Cole Palmer fast Chelsea into the lead.
Jamaica's Akira Nugent was a 4th place finisher at yesterday's New Balance Indoor World Continental Gold Tour meeting in Boston. Nugent, the national champion and record holder outdoors, sped to 7.92 seconds in the women's 60 meters hurdles, finishing behind the Olympic champion Masai Russell, who won in 7.80 seconds. The indoor world champion and record holder Devin Charlton of the Bahamas was 3rd in 7.85. The other Jamaican in action at the meet, Olympic finalist Romain Beckford, was 2nd in the men's high jump with 2 meters 19, the same height as the winner Vernon Turner of the USA, and 3rd place Luis Castro Rivera of Puerto Rico. Noah Lyles won the men's 60 meters in 6.52 seconds, beating fellow American Terrence Jones 6.57, and the world and Olympic champion Grant Holloway won the men's 60 meters hurdles in 7.42 seconds. Veer Technical's Ashar Freighter produced a meet record to win the girls' Class 1 1500 meters at the Jamalco J3's Puma Development Track and Field meeting at Jamalco Sports Complex. Freighter posted 4 minutes 55.06 seconds in winning the event. The meet organizer Dennis May says the young athletes surprised their opponents.
Normally, this race would have been taken by Edwin Allen, and actually Edwin Allen came 2nd. So it was a surprise that it was Veer Technical, in fact, but maybe Veer Technical themselves were not surprised. But it means that there will be good competition going forward.
Dennis May. Cricket West Indies unveiled a groundbreaking data-driven scouting system aimed at identifying and developing the best cricketing talent across the region. This new initiative marks a major shift in player assessment, with senior talent managers, territorial talent identifiers, and a network of scouts now working together to provide a structured analytical approach to talent identification. With the West Indies Championship as their first major assessment, the scouting team will ensure that every performance is tracked, analyzed, and reported, creating a clear pathway for emerging cricketers to progress to the highest level. Through Cricket West Indies recently appointed senior talent managers Jamal Smith and Anne Brown-John, there'll now be a dedicated and robust responsibility for managing senior players' data, collaborating with analysts, and assisting in selection decisions. They will work alongside 6 TTIDs, each assigned to a specific region. Additionally, 4 regional scouts, Phoenix Thomas from Dominica, St. Vincent, Stacey and Adams, Anthony Gray from Trinidad and Tobago, and Shane Jeffers of St. Kitts and Nevis will assist in evaluating talent during the West Indies Championship. According to Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket Miles Bascom, this initiative represents a significant step toward professionalizing talent identification. A major feature of this new scouting approach is its reliance on advanced analytics. Talent scouts will use the athlete management system to maintain player depth charts, submit performance reports, and track player progression. Cricket West Indies' bold new scouting model represents a significant step towards revitalizing the region's talent pipeline. And that will do it for sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you. The time brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:31.
Imagine opening a bank account without ever leaving your home. Well, at CIBC Caribbean, we've changed the game. Open a new CIBC savings or checking account completely online using your computer or phone, anywhere, anytime. No need to visit the bank, no waiting in line. Just apply, verify, and sign your documents, all online. It's secure, seamless, and 100% digital. Open your new CIBC account by applying online today.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
The future is here with Infinity Cooperative Credit Union Jamaica Limited. Educom and Gateway have joined forces to bring you more convenience, innovation, and opportunities to achieve your dreams. Enjoy excellent service and seamless financial solutions, all designed for your lifestyle. Whether it's loans, savings, or insurance, we're here to make your financial journey effortless. Infinity Cooperative Credit Union Jamaica Limited, where possibilities are endless.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of The Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
None of mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking them beats.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team. Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multilink. Access every time, everywhere I go. Multilink. 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multilink. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy. Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network. Multilink, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here Nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
Good afternoon, Cliff. Good afternoon to the listeners. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Well, in our cover story this afternoon, Deputy General Secretary of the Jamaica Labour Party, Senator Delroy Williams, is confirming that he has applied to represent the party in the JLP stronghold of Central Clarendon at the next general elections.
Yes, definitely so. I have expressed an interest in the Clarendon Central constituency by way of a formal letter to the party secretariat. My family has strong roots, deep roots in the parish of Clarendon. My mother, grandmother, grandparents, great-grandparents were all born in the parish. Our ties to the parish, I would say, go back to centuries.
Delroy Williams there, Deputy General Secretary of the JLP. Now, according to Senator Williams, he has no doubt in his ability to contribute positively to Central Clarendon should he be elected as the MP. He's currently the Deputy Mayor of Kingston and Councillor for the Seavright Gardens Division in Andrew Holness's West Central St. Andrew constituency.
And the outgoing Member of Parliament, of course, is Mike Henry. He has endorsed Maypenn's Mayor Joel Williams to be his preferred successor. Delroy Williams' application comes as the governing parties reported in the final phase of settling the list of standard bearers of the next election, which is constitutionally due by no later than September this year.
In the meantime, Mayor Williams is accusing Senator Williams, it's a battle of the Williams, so you have to follow along, listeners, of disrespecting the outgoing MP Mike Henry.
He has not reached out to Mr. Henry. And for me, that is total disrespect. He has been there for over 40 years. He built that constituency. And if you disrespect Mr. Henry, you disrespect me.
Mayor Joel Williams is insisting that Senator Delroy Williams should have shown Mr. Henry the courtesy of a discussion before submitting his application.
We are in a democracy, and if he feels that he so wishes, then that is his right to do so. But my strong objection is that Mike has been someone who served this country well, served that constituency well. I have been there with him from I was in school, so to speak. And, if you're going to come into a seat, I would expect that you would at least have some courtesy to go to the person who is the holder of the seat, the sitting member of parliament, and say, Mike, I would, have an interest in the seat. I would like to put in my, plea for the seat. But no such thing was done. The constituency is very upset. But constituency will deal with that when the time comes.
Joel Williams, the mayor of May Pen. Nationwide News understands that JLP delegates in the constituency are also divided on the matter. Some believe Mayor Williams deserves the constituency given his work over the years. Others argue that Senator Williams has brought renewed energy and is better suited to succeed Mike Henry.
And despite the looming contest, Mayor Williams remains confident that he can secure the seat for the JLP. And we understand that Mayor Williams met this afternoon with the JLP leader and Prime Minister Andrew Holness. And this was part of efforts to resolve amicably the issue of who will carry the JLP banner in central Clarendon. Dana Davey gives us a history of the constituency.
The constituency of Central Clarendon was first established in 1976. In the general election that year, Lester Michael Henry, popularly known as Mike Henry, contested the seat for the JLP. The PNP was represented by Orville Ramtally. Ramtally amassed 5,545 votes, defeating Henry by a margin of 881. In the following general election in 1980, Henry returned to defeat Ramtally by 3,475 votes. Henry amassed 8,135 votes to Ramtally's 4,660. Henry won again in 1983 unopposed. The Michael Manley-led PNP had boycotted the general election that year. The PNP contested the 1989 general election, where Henry defeated the PNP's Donna Scott Boora Singh by 482 votes. Henry would go on to defeat all the PNP candidates who contested Central Clarendon over the years. He's held the seat for 45 years. Henry is currently one of the longest-serving members of Parliament, alongside Carl Samuda from North Central St. Andrew. At 89 years old, Henry is the oldest elected member of the House of Representatives in Jamaica. He announced his intention to leave representational politics in October 2022. At the time, he handed over chairmanship of the constituency to Councillor for the Denby Division and current Mayor of May Pen, Joel Williams. And in November last year, JLP General Secretary Dr. Horace Chang announced that Henry would not be seeking re-election in the next general election. With Henry endorsing Joel Williams and Delroy Williams now putting himself forward, the race for Central Clarendon for the JLP is afoot. Dana Davey for Nationwide at 5.
Thanks, Dana. And just to clarify, Cliff, that Donna Scott Boora Singh is now Donna Scott Motley.
Senator Donna Scott Motley. Yes. Boora Singh, she was married. Named Boora Singh then.
Before we go to the break, what's troubling me about this is the governing party, I think, Cliff, shouldn't be having this kind of, I put it no stronger than discord, spat, over a safe seat so close to a general election. And I'm wondering, why wasn't this settled before?
And that's a general criticism leveled at the leadership of the party, including leader Andrew Holness and General Secretary Horace Chang. They have dilly-dallied and waited for so long to have these matters settled, especially where the party veterans are concerned. You're talking about Mike Henry in this case. You're talking about Samuda. So in North Central St. Andrew, Samuda, at 82, 83 years old, is now facing the prospect of going back because of the turmoil or the looming problems in settling on a successor to him. And they should not be.
Yeah, certainly not this close to a general election.
No.
You'd expect that your candidates are settled and a program of political work would have already started.
Yes, the general secretary and the party leader must take full responsibility for this.
Yeah.
Poor management of the political affairs.
We're up on the break. After the break, I want to pick your brain a little bit about Central Clarendon.
Yes.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
16 minutes to 6.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Public opinion.
Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are a Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a GLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
I'm Cliff Hughes.
And we're focused on Central Clarendon, where the Deputy Mayor of Kingston, Delroy Williams, has confirmed he has applied to represent the party as caretaker eventually candidate in Central Clarendon. And he's expected to face stiff competition from the outgoing MP's preferred choice. That's Mayor Joel Williams of May Pen. We should tell you, listeners, that we did try to confirm both gentlemen, Delroy Williams and Joel Williams. We did have Delroy Williams confirmed. Our producer is not able to reach him now. And we're still trying to reach Mayor Joel Williams.
We're not getting him?
No. I want to pick your brain because I've always heard that so far as Titanic struggles go, that
Titanic?
Yes, that Central Clarendon, certainly 80, and I understand that let's extend perhaps 89, was the ground of a Titanic struggle. Is that your recollection?
I don't know if I would use the term Titanic, but it was a hotly brutal contest. First of all, in 1976, when the seat was created for the first time, and O.D. Ramtali was up against Mike Henry, it was a violent campaign. I remember O.D. Ramtali being physically assaulted. Yeah? Or was that 1980? It could have been 76 or 80, but he was physically assaulted in one of the two contests against Mike Henry. And it was one of the hot spots in the elections of 1976 and certainly 1980. And in the first round in 76, O.D. Ramtali prevailed. And that was in keeping with the PNP winning the 76 December elections by a landslide. Yeah? And Ramtali came home. It wasn't a big victory. And by 1980, when the country had swung definitely to Labour, yes, Mike Henry ramped home, yeah, winning very, very handsomely in Central Clarendon. And then, of course, the December 1983 election was not contested by the PNP. But when the PNP came back to power in 1989, Central Clarendon became a hotspot again because the PNP found in Donna Scott Borasing a young attorney at law who was practicing in Maypen at the time with roots in Clarendon. She put up the best performance against Mike Henry in these nearly 45 years. Donna Scott Borasing, as she was then, now Senator Scott Motley. Yeah, she was articulate, bright, one for the future, and she gave Mike Henry a good run for his money. Yes, it was also very tough, but not as violent as the 76, as the 80 campaigns were.
Would you classify Central Clarendon as a garrison?
Parts of it. For example, Canyon Heights, yes, is a PNP garrison. Yeah, very, very strong. Mike Henry had his garrisons as well and was very well organized. Both parties were very well organized in Central Clarendon. But some parts of it, pockets of it, now I wouldn't say generally right across, but certainly pockets were garrisons.
And I've been wondering if that's unusual in the context of a rural constituency, because you tend to associate quote-unquote garrison politics.
Well, I don't consider Central Clarendon rural.
Yes.
Central Clarendon is in Clarendon, but it's not rural. It is a very urban. Maypen and surrounding areas are quite urban areas. Yeah. And I think it was just because the two parties started out in 76 evenly balanced in terms of political strength. And therefore, it was an almighty struggle who was going to win and to impose, if not build, on that underlying strength going forward. And Mike Henry came out the better in terms of organization and support. Mike Henry was no ordinary politician. Smooth talker, yeah, but he knows how to take a punch and he knows how to give one.
Yes. And before the break, we talked about the fact that you'd expect that the Labour Party would have wanted to settle, a safe seat so that perhaps it could focus the attention and the political negotiations elsewhere, perhaps marginal seats that it will have to hold on to if it intends to, as the Labour it's been saying.
Let me correct something. It was Mike Henry who was shot in 1976, not O.D. Ramtali.
Okay.
And he carries the pellets in his knee to this day. So it was, wow, something fell behind us. Yes? So, no, I wasn't shot.
He's fine.
Yes, but thank you for that correction. Yeah, it was Mike Henry who was shot in 1976. O.D. Ramtali was also physically assaulted, I recall.
Yes.
But the one who was shot was Mike Henry in 1976. And the JLP garrison in Central Clarendon is Effortville. Yeah.
Yeah, and so why do you think the Labour Party has been so slow to address, as you call them, the elders, the seniors, who obviously have been in the departure lounge for a while now, and who need to go, frankly?
Yeah. I think it's a combination of things. The style of Holness as a party leader. Holness
doesn't want to rock the boat.
Not that he doesn't want to rock the boat, but he learned so much from how Edward Seaga did the political management.
Strong arm.
Yes. And
firm hand.
And cause a lot of problems.
Yes.
I think he wanted to avoid that as much as possible. But in doing so, I think he allowed certain things to just flow, hoping that things will settle. Yeah. And also another factor is where you have all these veterans, they are in safe JLP constituencies. Yeah? So you don't want to be seen to be pushing them out or to, cause problems and alienating their bases, because they have very strong bases in the constituencies.
And I accept that, but the flip side to that is that close to an election now, murmurs, about the situation being, unsettled. You don't want that close to an election.
No, you don't.
You want to seem settled, ready to face the electorate.
Of course, because now your candidates should have been well in place, establishing their organization and their links and putting down roots in the constituencies. I think they're behind in terms of their own schedule.
Or is it that the thought is, we have Central Clarendon, whoever the candidate is, it's going to be in the column of the Labour Party, so not much to worry about, which could be seen as taking the people there for granted.
Well, I think that is a reality.
Part
for
of the
them.
calculation.
Part of the calculation. They're not going to lose Central Clarendon.
Yeah.
Yes, and they would figure they have some time there. It's not one of those must-win marginal seats. Yeah.
Yeah.
The must-win marginal seats they've battened down. Yeah. So but this is not looking good. Yes, Delroy Williams going there and to have a runoff now, because as I understand it,
well, a runoff, assuming the Prime Minister cannot impress upon, one of the two,
yes,
to back off.
Right.
Because remember, we were fearing that there would have been a runoff in Clarendon between Perennial Charles Jr., I believe it was at the time, and Robert Nestor Morgan, if my memory serves me correctly, and that was handled. That was handled pretty smoothly. So, I mean, the assumption is that the Prime Minister will be able to. Yeah.
Yeah, but they've been busy running the country and not paying enough attention to Belmont Road. Yeah?
I've always heard that criticism of the Labour Party.
Yes.
That they're very good in government.
They're not good at politics.
Not good at politics.
The PNP is much better at politics. The Labour Party is much better at governance,
And
running
they
the
are
country.
politics.
Yeah? Putting in what needs to be done for the country. The PNP tends to get to do better at the politics. Yeah.
But the Labourites had better realize that in order to secure governance, in order to be able to deliver through government,
you have to manage,
the politics and be good at the politics.
Yes. Yeah. Let me tell our listeners, our nationwide Blue Dot pollsters are back from the field. Yeah. And come next week, Monday, we're going to begin publishing their findings. And it's...
You've seen the results?
Not quite.
You don't want to tell me?
Not
Yes,
quite.
you don't want to tell me.
No.
No, in a seat. Okay.
I've seen some of the figures, yes, but that's not final because the data scientists have to do their tabulations and cross-tabulating to make sure they get it right. I haven't seen those numbers yet. But what I can tell you, listeners, what we're doing differently this time around, given that the election is almost upon us, normally we would go into the field in January, February, as we have done this year, and then back in the summer, where we went into the field end of mid-January, and we're going to be going back in the field like every 6 to 8 weeks until the elections are called.
So keeping our finger on the pulse.
Yes, because we have to using the February numbers as our base. But we're also doing something differently this year. We have identified, and the data is there to help us identify this objectively, the constituencies that are the weather vane seats, the constituencies that have voted for the winning party for the last 20-odd years, the last 4 or 5 general elections.
Southwest St. Elizabeth.
Southeast St. Elizabeth.
West Rural St. Andrew.
No, West Rural is 4 or 5.
4 or 5, okay.
So to East Rural, so to Eastern St. Andrew, and Western St. Mary.
Bobby, yes.
The
Bobby,
people have voted
yes.
in Western St. Mary for the winner in the last 5 general elections. So we're watching those ones, and next week we're going to tell you where 2 of the so-called swing seats, where they're heading.
On this business of polling, I find it curious that I have not seen the opposition put out any recent polls. Last year they were busy. About every 3 months or so, they would have a poll. I wonder if they've been in the field and what they found.
I hear they've been in the field. I hear they were in the field in November, December, but I don't know what they have found. And I gather they are now back out in the field, polling some of the swing seats, the marginal seats, to determine how they're going to structure their campaign.
Because now it's a hunt for the votes, and to find enough seats, they need 18?
To cross the finish line,
18,
to win,
17?
they will have to pick up 18 seats and do not lose one of the 14 they now have.
It's a tall order for Dayton Campbell.
That's a mountain to climb.
Yeah.
A mountain to climb.
Not impossible.
No, not impossible. But if there's a general swing in the country against the government, then they'll get there quite easily.
5-6 percentage points there both.
But is there that swing? It's one of the things we're polling as well.
Yes.
If there's a swing to the opposition or to the government.
I can't wait.
All right, that's next week. That's where we're going to leave the cover story. The headlines at 6 are next.
Cover story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6:00.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening. With the headlines at 6, I'm Nora Gay Banton. The looming restructuring of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, is sending shockwaves through civil society and human rights groups in Jamaica. This comes after U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order halting nearly all international spending for 90 days pending a comprehensive review. On Monday, USAID's future was thrown into doubt when Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced plans to fold the agency into the State Department. Nationwide News reached out to several local agencies that receive USAID project funding, but only one agreed to speak with us on the record. The rest declined to do so, fearing reprisals or worsening tensions with the new Trump administration. Only Equality Jamaica, an LGBT advocacy group, spoke openly. Executive Director Glenroy Murray noted that while they haven't received USAID funding recently, the U.S. policy shift will undoubtedly affect developmental organizations. Nevertheless, he vowed their advocacy will continue.
Globally and in different parts of the world are concerned as we see what for many years has been a major supporter of human rights for a wide range of marginalized groups begin to reshape what their priorities are. As that changes, we will be looking as a movement nationally, regionally, and globally about how we navigate human rights work in relation to that. But to be clear, our work does not stop because USAID's priorities shift, because they have never been the only organization or the only entity that has supported this kind of work.
Glenroy Murray, Executive Director at Equality Jamaica. Dancehall artist Mr. Vegas, whose given name is Clifford Smith, has apologized for alleged defamatory remarks made against PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell. The apology comes a day after Dr. Campbell threatened to sue Mr. Vegas. Dr. Campbell issued the warning while addressing the candidate presentation of Damian Crawford in Northwest St. Catherine on Sunday.
But me used to overcoming challenges from me, boy. First, people attacked my reputation in one of the most vicious way about 3 years ago. Then after that, shots fire over one station and them tell lie, say me. Them say me make it happen. Now them a come tell lie about me misallocate money. I don't work a parish council. I don't have no standing for instruct no parish council, so I can misappropriate anything. And any boy or girl will say so, me and them are going courthouse, starting with Mr. Vegas.
Dr. Dayton Campbell, PNP General Secretary. Prior to his remarks, Dr. Campbell posted on Saturday that he instructed his attorneys at Stubbs Law to initiate legal proceedings against Mr. Vegas. In a social media post on Monday, Vegas says he wishes to publicly apologize to Dr. Campbell for any unflattering remarks he made about him at any time. Vegas added that he does not have any information or facts about any improper behavior or activity regarding the PNP General Secretary. He ended the post by apologizing for any allegations that have been made. Jamaicans for Justice JFJ is calling on the Holness administration to definitively declare its position on Jamaica's final appellate court. JFJ's executive director Michael Jackson says the continued delay by the government to provide an update on its position is unfortunate. She was speaking on the weekly JFJ produced program Let's Talk Justice, aired on Nationwide at 90 FM on Monday. The government's plan to transition Jamaica into a republic has been met with serious pushback from the opposition PNP. The PNP caucus has boycotted the sittings of a joint select committee reviewing legislation to transform Jamaica into a republic. Opposition leader Mark Golding has declared that his members will not return to the committee unless they get answers from the government regarding the country's final court. The opposition has been voicing its support for the Caribbean Court of Justice CCJ to be Jamaica's final court. The government has yet to give an ultimate decision on the matter, but they have said those discussions will be held in Phase 2 of the constitutional reform process. Michael Jackson says such a delay is unbecoming.
It is unfortunate that the government has taken so long to make their position known on the Privy Council versus the CCJ. We know through utterances and past statements by past leaders where the thought processes were that the Jamaica Labour Party wanted a final court here in Jamaica. And I believe that Minister Malahoo Fort indicated that that is where the position of the government is at the moment. I stand corrected if that isn't the case, but that's what I remember hearing from the last Joint Select Committee.
According to Jackson, if the plan is to make the CCJ Jamaica's final court, the government must provide an update on any research being done on why it has reached that conclusion. Meanwhile, opposition leader Mark Golding has described the Prime Minister's commitment to settle the country's final appellate court in Phase 2 of the constitutional reform process as a con. Golding was addressing PNP supporters in northwest St. Catherine on Sunday. The opposition leader has insisted the removal of the British monarch as Jamaica's head of state should be twinned with accepting the appellate jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice.
Jamaica helped to be part of the design to make sure the court is independent and strong with men of intellect and integrity to adjudicate the cases of the people. And the court uses audiovisual technology and it moves from island to island so you can take your case there if you need to and it don't cost you an arm and a leg. And I say to Andrew Holness again, why you want to deprive the people of Jamaica of access to justice, which is their fundamental right? Why, Andrew? Why you want to con me and tell me say it's Phase 2 when I know you can't be trusted when it comes to anything you say? And we will not be conned. We want justice for the people now.
Mark Golding, opposition leader, he says if there is not a proper resolution on the issue, the show will not go on. Those are the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay. Banton Sports is next.
New World Home Improvement and Detail Cleaning offers high-quality detail cleaning and home improvement services. They cater to residential and commercial properties. They clean from the ceiling to the floor. They clean sofas, mattresses, carpets, and chairs. They deep clean and restore all floors. They repair and restore roofing. They do tiling, general paintings, drywall works, and other carpentry services to include property renovation. Call them 876-384-9313. Follow them at New World Detail Cleaning and Home Improvement.
Good morning and welcome to the newest addition to the Nationwide News Network family on Hot 102.
Good afternoon, I'm Erica Allen.
I'm Elizabeth Bennett.
In Nationwide News at this hour.
This is Nationwide. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Carol Narcisse.
Morning, welcome to This Morning on Hot 102.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Beverly Anderson Manley. Good morning and welcome.
For 20 years, Nationwide 90 FM has been your trusted source for breaking news, delivering critical updates when you needed them most. 3:37 in the afternoon, we interrupt to bring you more from the Wandon Klansman gang trial. Another guilty verdict. With fearless, fact-based journalism that unearthed the truth.
Between 2012 and 2018, nearly $5.5 million was taken from the track legend.
And insightful commentary that sparked meaningful conversations and shifted perspectives.
Welcome to the front page. I'm Emily Crooks. I am Naomi Francis. We're pleased to be joined by Roger Clark.
From the stories that shook Jamaica,
we're having an earthquake,
to those that inspired change and left lasting impacts.
In 2014, to be dealing with an issue such as the Mario Dean case.
Nationwide 90 FM has been there, diving deep into the issues that matter most to you. As we mark 20 years of dedicated service in 2025, we honor the trust you have placed in us and reaffirm our commitment to serving you, the Jamaican people, rooted in truth, fairness, and integrity. We continue to provide incisive reporting with a foundation of accountability and respect. While we celebrate our journey, we are also focused on the future, fueled by the same passion and purpose that has always driven us. Thank you for supporting Team Revolution for 2 decades. Stay with us. The best is yet to come.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Champions Cavalier and Veer United are still 1-1 at sports time. They're now in the second half of the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League game at Stadium East. Striker Jalmaro Calvin shot the champions in front after 9 minutes with a strong left-footed effort from inside the box. However, Kevon Atkinson equalised for Veer on minute 21, tapping in after some good work from Tyreek McGee. In the second game of the doubleheader, Arnott Gardens will come face-to-face with Tivoli Gardens, and that game is scheduled to kick off at 7:45. Chelsea moved back into the top 4 of the English Premier League this afternoon, thanks to a come-from-behind 2-1 win over West Ham United at Stamford Bridge. Jared Bowen shot West Ham ahead after 42 minutes. However, Pedro Neto and an own goal from Wan-Bissaka 10 minutes apart in the second half did the job for Chelsea to be on 43 points in fourth.
It was a mistake here by Colwell, and Bowen is back, and West Ham lead at Stamford Bridge.
Palmer. Oh, in it goes! How did he manage that? Cole Palmer fast Chelsea into the lead.
Jamaica's Akira Nugent was a fourth-place finisher at yesterday's New Balance Indoor World Continental Gold Tour meet in Boston. Nugent, the national champion and record holder outdoors, sped to 7.92 seconds in the women's 60 meters hurdles, finishing behind the Olympic champion Masai Russell, who won in 7.80 seconds. The indoor world champion and indoor world record holder Devine Charlton of the Bahamas, who was a third in 7.85. The other Jamaican in action at the meet, Olympic finalist Romaine Beckford, was second in the men's high jump with 2 meters 19, the same height as winner Vernon Turner of the USA, and the third place Luis Castro Rivera of Puerto Rico. Noah Lyles won the men's 60 meters in 6.52, beating fellow American Terrence Jones 6.57, and the world and Olympic champion Grant Holloway won the men's 60 meters hurdles in 7.42. And Veer Technical's Ashara Freighter produced a meet record to win the girls' Class 1 1,500 meters at the Jamalco J3's Puma Development Track and Field meeting at Jamalco Sports Complex. Freighter posted 4 minutes 55.06 seconds to win the event. And meet organizer Dennis May says Freighter surprised her opponents.
Normally, this race would have been taken by Edwin Allen, and actually Edwin Allen came second. So it was a surprise that it was very technical, in fact, but maybe very technical themselves were not surprised. But it means that there will be good competition going forward.
Dennis May. Cricket West Indies unveiled a groundbreaking data-driven scouting system aimed at identifying and developing the best cricketing talent across the region. This new initiative marks a major shift in player assessment, with senior talent managers, territorial talent identifiers, and a network of scouts now working together to provide a structured analytical approach to identifying talent. With the West Indies Championship as their first major assignment, the scouting team will ensure that every performance is tracked, analysed and reported, creating a clear pathway for emerging cricketers to progress to the highest level. Through Cricket West Indies recently appointed senior managers Jamal Smith and Anne Brown-John, there will now be a dedicated and robust responsibility for managing senior players' data, collaborating with analysts and assisting in selection decisions. They will work alongside 6 TIDS, each assigned to a specific region. Additionally, 4 regional scouts, Phoenix Thomas from Dominica, St. Vincent's Stacey and Adams, Anthony Gray from Trinidad and Tobago, and Shane Jeffers of St. Kitts will assist in evaluating talent during the West Indies Championship. According to Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket Miles Bascom, this initiative represents a significant step towards professionalizing talent identification. A major feature of this new scouting approach is its reliance on advanced analytics. Talent scouts will use the athlete management system to maintain player depth charts, submit performance reports, and track player progression. Cricket West Indies' bold new scouting model represents a significant step towards revitalizing the region's talent pipeline. And President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Chris Samuda, says the association will spare no resources to assist the 3 Rivers siblings qualifying for the 2026 Winter Olympic Games in Italy. The triplets, Hania, Henri, and Helena, are hoping to qualify to represent Jamaica in skiing at the 25th Games. Already, the siblings have shown themselves to be world-class by achieving high standards. Henri and Hania participated at the Winter Youth Olympic Games in South Korea in January of last year. And Samuda says the siblings will be given every chance to qualify.
It is triple action for the Jamaica Olympic Association. Our vision is not tunnel, it is multi-purpose. It is beyond the horizon, and our wallet is multilingual in our advocacy and support of sport. And with the triplets, it's for us an investment in summer's youth and winter's dream, which we are committed to make it come true. We support the aspirations of our youth, and we see in the triplets not only their future being bright, but a change in the narrative that sport is for all seasons.
Samuda says the JOA's aim is to increase Jamaica's footprint at the Winter Games.
We at the Jamaica Olympic Association are dedicating our efforts in building the winter sports and developing our medal credentials and the commercial value of the sports. Our definition of progress is plural, but our objective for the triplets and others who are bold to make that journey with them is as singular as the spirit that drives them to be pioneers, history makers, and an inspiration to all of us.
GOA President Chris Samuda. Jamaica failed in its quest to advance to the Davis Cup Tier 2 after losing to New Zealand 3-2 at the Eric Bell Tennis Center. This result means Jamaica has been relegated to Group 3 in the Americas region. Both teams were locked up at 1 apiece after Saturday's first set of singles matches. However, New Zealand took the lead when their doubles pair of Finn Reynolds and Ajit Rai beat Jamaica's Nicholas Gore and John Chen 6-1, 6-2, giving the New Zealanders a 2-1 lead. Jamaica's number 1 player, Blaise Bicknell, leveled the tie with a 6-2, 6-4 victory over Rai in the reverse singles. In the deciding singles game, Jamaica's Randy Phillips lost to Jack Luteet 6363. President of the Jamaica Tennis Association, John Azar, says the fans made the tournament special.
I think the crowd is electric. We probably had 700 people here, which probably sounded like about 3 or 4 times larger. At times there were more people here earlier with the rain. Some people left.
That's President of the Jamaica Tennis Association, John Azar. That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612 to 5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:19.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
31 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 27 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Yeah, here? If you're tired of a cluttered office space, then you need to call Corporate Interiors International. We offer top quality industrial shelving, filing cabinets, and storage cabinets to keep your workspace organized and efficient, plus comfortable office chairs that will keep your team productive and focused. Visit us today at corporateinteriorsjm.com or call us at 876-630-0010 for more information. Corporate Interiors International. We sell solutions, not just furniture.
Good morning and welcome to the newest edition to the Nationwide News Network family on Hot 102.
Good afternoon, I'm Erica Allen.
I'm Elizabeth Bennett.
In Nationwide News at this hour.
This is Nationwide. I'm Cliffy Hughes.
And I'm Carol Narcisse.
Morning, welcome to This Morning on Hot 102.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Beverly Anderson Manley. Good morning and welcome.
For 20 years, Nationwide 90 FM has been your trusted source for breaking news, delivering critical updates when you needed them most. 3:37 in the afternoon, we interrupt to bring you more from the One Don Klansman gang trial. Another guilty verdict. With fearless, fact-based journalism that unearthed the truth.
Between 2012 and 2018, nearly $5.5 million was taken from the track legend.
And insightful commentary that sparked meaningful conversations and shifted perspectives.
Welcome to the front page. I'm Emily Crooks. I am Naomi Francis. We're pleased to be joined by Roger Clark.
From the stories that shook Jamaica,
We're having an earthquake.
to those that inspired change and left lasting impacts.
In 2014, to be dealing with an issue such as the Mario Dean case.
Nationwide 90 FM has been there, diving deep into the issues that matter most to you. As we mark 20 years of dedicated service in 2025, we honor the trust you have placed in us and reaffirm our commitment to serving you, the Jamaican people, rooted in truth, fairness, and integrity. We continue to provide incisive reporting with a foundation of accountability and respect. While we celebrate our journey, we are also focused on the future, fueled by the same passion and purpose that has always driven us. Thank you for supporting Team Revolution for 2 decades. Stay with us. The best is yet to come.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Home Owner Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. It's the start of a new week, yeah? And we welcome it. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. And what a thing, happening in the U.S. Today we're diving into a topic that could have serious ripple effects on our economy. Trump's tariffs. With the U.S. being one of Jamaica's biggest trading partners, new tariffs and trade policies under a Trump administration could mean higher costs for imports, shifts in foreign investment, and potential challenges for local businesses. Could this impact your grocery bill? Maybe job opportunities or even the overall stability of our economy? We're asking you, the people, are you worried about the effects of Trump's tariffs on the Jamaican economy? That's our public opinion this evening. Are you worried about the effects of Trump's tariffs on the Jamaican economy? I'm going to start with the comments on our social media platform on Facebook. Let me see if I can get this one. Ellerita Mitchell saying that the only time she would worry and start having, diarrhea would be if the PNP in government. Wow. Okay. And she's saying that the JLP government navigated Jamaica through a global pandemic, food crisis, storm, hurricane. Jamaica still end up with surplus. And she's saying that she has full confidence in the JLP to navigate the country. Yeah? Shins for Life Law is saying Trump and Trump tariffs will and already having a negative effect on the entire world, but it should be mandatory in Jamaica to farm. Anything after food is always secondary. Indeed. Grow what you eat and eat what you grow. Yes, eat what you grow what you eat. Winston saying, indeed, it will have a domino effect. Original Boss Lady is saying, no, I'm more worried about Riser's tariff. Wow, okay. Let me see if I can get... Philip Kidd says, no, we're worried about Andrew. Vivine Hanchard is saying, not really. Prices in Jamaica goes up every week anyway. I can't see how much higher they can get. Just buy less of what you need. Matter of fact, nothing that can be grown in Jamaica should be imported. Cheryl Griffith saying to us that she's not really worried. We have the right government to take us through any storm. Michelle Bernard saying anything affects America affects us. Jamaica affects us. America is very sick right now, she says. We have a high fever. And I always hear the saying that if America cough, we cough too. Something like that. Something like that, me always hear. Or if them sneeze, we catch flu. So me ear one saying we go so yeah. Thank you, Boogs, thank you. And Jamal, yeah. All right, Anthony Sheikh saying it's not going to hurt us badly. And the sad thing is that some people who know better is going to blame the government. Yeah. And Derek McCreath is saying, no, the JLP government will take care of that. We're asking, are you worried about the effects of Trump's tariffs on the Jamaican economy? To that question, Natalie Winter is saying, no, Jamaican can weather any storm. I strongly believe President Trump will work alongside the government in the best interest of citizens of Jamaica. Yeah, full of hope. Christopher Isaacs is saying, doubly so, especially because I reside in both places. Marcia Curry, we should be worried. It will affect us. And George Elliott saying, behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. Canada will now increase the importation of rum from Jamaica. That's according to George Elliott there. Bev Samuda saying, not really. Everyday things go up and we are still living. Moreover, we have a competent government in place. Barbara Johnson is saying, yes, she's worried. Trump's tariffs threat will hurt the Jamaican economy. And we're seeing Philip Jackson saying, when bull get away in China shop. Wow. Okay. Philip Jackson saying to us, when bull get away in a China shop, valuables are in danger of getting destroyed. And he's saying, read my lips. I wish I could read your lips, Philip. All right. If you're just joining us, we're inside the court of public opinion. We're asking, are you worried about the effects of Trump's tariffs on the Jamaican economy? Let's see what's happening on our, let me see. YouTube. Arlene Rose says, Roby, and you can go grow meat, milk. Can get some livestock, don't it, Arlene? Yeah. Let me see if I can get in some more. John Clark is saying Jamaicans don't. Okay, no, not that one. All right. Mystical Vibrations is saying, no, we will need to shift our focus and wants to buying and producing local. Get up and make breakfast and leave out the cereal and pancake. Yeah? All right, that's coming from Mystical Vibrations. Let me see if I can get in a few more here on our YouTube platform. Angie Blessed for Life is saying, no, not worried at this time, but not sure how I would feel if the PNP should be in power again. Yeah. Michael Clark is saying, I like Trump, so I won't say anything about him. I will only worry if the PNP come to power. Okay. Wow. Miss Chin is saying it will definitely impact Jamaica, but competent Andrew is here to rescue. Leonard Seville saying, yes, I'm worried it will have a domino effect on Jamaican economy. We are a global village. Yeah. Let me see if I can get in some more. All right. Reasonable Thinker says we have the best PM so we can weather any storm. On Instagram, Dang Abbey is saying clean up our country by getting those money laundering vultures out of our government. Wow. Run up another one day. All right. Fear is saying yes, worried. Yeah. Jamaica is saying yes, worried. All right, let me see if I can get Sensational Simmer is saying plant and reap. Stop with the whole heap of foreign food. We're toxic and we will import less and become really independent of these countries. Yeah. Sonia Campbell says, I am not worried. Our government is competent. Garfield Edwards is saying we should wait until the dust is settled. We are likely to see some wild swings, so not sure of the effect as yet. Yeah. Will, I see your comment. Yeah. Thank you, Philip Jackson, also seeing your comment. Let me see if I can get in some more. Linda Ming is saying not worried at all. Yeah. Not worried at all. If you're just joining us, we're inside the court of public opinion and we're asking you your opinion. Are you worried about the effects of Trump's tariffs on the Jamaican economy? We've seen what's been happening with Mexico. We've seen what's been happening in Canada. Yeah. Let's see. Randolph Wright is saying China and Mexico navigated their way around his first term tariffs. Yeah. Harleen saying you can get livestock to support the entire Jamaica. Uno we are talk about farming, nah farm, only fi uno and touch ground is if uno drop. Whoa, okay, wow. Killian Henry says we have a good leader, so we fear nothing. All right, big up on yourself. Thank you so much for participating in Public Opinion this evening. It's a Monday. We wish you indeed a productive week. Yeah, the business report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:32.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 out west in Montego Bay. The Administrator General's Department wishes to advise the public that we're currently experiencing technical difficulties with the telephone lines at both our Kingston and Montego Bay location and may be reached at the following numbers. Our Kingston office 876-359-0646, 876-552-0054, or Montego Bay office at 876-583-7645. Or you may visit our website at www.agd.gov.jm for more information. We apologize for any inconvenience caused.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jackama figure dig the wall. Our Total Tools. Weed whacker figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand. Total Tools. We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When you say home improvement, landscape construction, or Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slive Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jacksaw, St. Anne's Bay. Call us today.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Cygnus Credit Investments Limited says it has deployed over $150 million into private credit investments for the financial year 2024. This, the company says, is another major financial milestone as it has deployed over $500 million since its inception. Cygnus Credit Investments says the accomplishment was made possible by investors' confidence in the business model, enabling the company to raise over $80 million in capital over the last 12 months for the Jamaican business and doubling the funding for the Puerto Rico subsidiary. It adds that confidence from investors has been well placed, as evidenced by the over $6 million in net profits and $3.15 million in dividends paid in the financial year 2024. Against this backdrop, Cygnus Credit Investments offered an innovative and unique investment opportunity to the market with the listing of its perpetual cumulative redeemable preference shares on the Jamaica Stock Exchange JSE on January 28, 2025. Further afield, U.S. President Donald Trump's proposed 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, which were set to come into effect on Tuesday, will be paused for a month. The cooling down period comes after Mexico and Canada agreed to take measures to improve border security and clamp down on drug trafficking. Canada and Mexico are the two largest trading partners for the U.S., and both had announced retaliatory trade measures if Trump followed through on his plan. Canada will appoint a fentanyl czar, and Mexico will send 10,000 troops to the border as part of the deal with Trump. Earlier, the U.S. president warned he would also impose trade tariffs on the EU, but suggested a deal could be worked out with the UK. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 158 Jamaican dollars and 30 cents to buy $1 US, 196 Jamaican dollars and 58 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 110 Jamaican dollars and 46 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. And that's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Good morning and welcome to the newest addition to the Nationwide News Network family on Hot 102.
Good afternoon, I'm Erica Allen.
I'm Elizabeth Bennett.
In Nationwide News at this hour.
This is Nationwide. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Carol Narcisse.
Morning, welcome to This Morning on Hot 102.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Beverly Anderson Manley. Good morning and welcome.
For 20 years, Nationwide 90 FM has been your trusted source for breaking news, delivering critical updates when you needed them most. 3:37 in the afternoon, we interrupt to bring you more from the One Don Klansman gang trial. Another guilty verdict. With fearless, fact-based journalism that unearthed the truth.
Between 2012 and 2018, nearly $5.5 million was taken from the track legend.
And insightful commentary that sparked meaningful conversations and shifted perspectives.
Welcome to the front page. I'm Emily Crooks. I am Naomi Francis. We're pleased to be joined by Roger Clark.
From the stories that shook Jamaica,
we're having an earthquake,
to those that inspired change and left lasting impacts.
In 2014, to be dealing with an issue such as the Mario Dean case.
Nationwide 90 FM has been there, diving deep into the issues that matter most to you. As we mark 20 years of dedicated service in 2025, we honor the trust you have placed in us and reaffirm our commitment to serving you, the Jamaican people, rooted in truth, fairness, and integrity. We continue to provide incisive reporting with a foundation of accountability and respect. While we celebrate our journey, we are also focused on the future, fueled by the same passion and purpose that has always driven us. Thank you for supporting Team Revolution for 2 decades. Stay with us. The best is yet to come.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Outperform, outlast, with top performance, Jackama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electricians. Fancy select tools, free parts and free repairs. 3 parts, free repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61124. Delta Supply. We service what we sell.
.19 going up to 7. Before we get into our next segment, we need to tell you, getting some information from the police, confirmation that a man said to be one of the leaders of the One Order gang in Spanish Town, he was shot and killed by the police in a confrontation in Eltham Meadows in Spanish Town today. This afternoon, the dead man has been identified as 25-year-old labourer Aidan Carl McIntosh, otherwise called Eddie or Udda of Eltham Park. Initial reports were that McIntosh was shot and killed in an armed confrontation with the police shortly after 3 this afternoon. The incident occurred in the vicinity of what's called Riverbanks. He's said to be the right-hand man of reputed leader of the One Order gang, O'Neill Tickman Loban, who was shot and killed in an altercation with the police on Wednesday, the 22nd of January, in the vicinity of 6 Miles in St. Andrew. So a second top-ranking member of the One Order gang is no longer. Eddie, or Udda, was shot and killed shortly after 3 this afternoon during another confrontation with the police. So, second one from One Order. All right. Government Senator Abka Fitz-Henley is slamming as corrupt a leaked voice note of PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell, suggesting that the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation disbursed cash strategically to help PNP caretakers. This in anticipation that 2 by-elections were to be called soon. Fitzhenley made the comment during his contribution to the State of the Nation debate in the Upper House. During the debate, Fitzhenley called for Dr. Campbell to step down as a commissioner of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. We'll now bring you, as a paid political broadcast, the presentation of Senator Fitzhenley.
Senator Fitzhenley.
Thank you, sir. I begin by thanking the great architect of the universe, Almighty God, for exercising his awesome powers in such a way that has made available to us grace, guidance, and sustenance. I acknowledge as well my family for allowing me to give of myself to the political arena, and my entire staff who support my work daily. The confidence, sir, invested in me by Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness to serve as a lawmaker in the executive via his office and the office of the Prime Minister is something I never ever take for granted. Because at the core of what we do is a recognition that being appointed to office presents an opportunity to take actions which enumerate to the best interest of the people of Jamaica land we love. President, I thank you, sir, for your expert and fair superintendence of the affairs of this chamber.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Notwithstanding that about 4 of my 5 points of orders have not been upheld. I still find your superintendence of the chamber fair, sir. And I extend greetings as well to all members of the upper house, including our Senate leader, the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, whose steady and effective leadership of the chamber is very much appreciated. I wish to indicate as well appreciation for the daily efforts of the parliamentary staff, led by Ms. Colleen Lowe, very much recognized and appreciated. You know, Mr. President, the late great Robert Nesta Marley, I believe, in 1977, immortalized in song a phrase, "So much things to say, so much things to say." That's the position I find myself in this morning. And on my mind has been the transformation of the Jamaican society in terms of values and attitudes of young people, in particular in this country. And I have always been of the view that the church and captains of popular industry, including our entertainers, have an important part to play in instilling positive values in society, including the younger cohort. In that vein, I take note of the debate in the public domain currently concerning entertainer Spice participating in schools and seeking to transfer a positive message. I believe a balancing act can be found, and all stakeholders, whether the church or the captains of popular culture, can have a powerful and influential part to play in the future transformation of Jamaican society. I see myself as a churchman, sir, believe it or not. And also, I'm a supporter of the music. And I make the comments in that context. I make the comments in that context. But I believe if we are actually honest with ourselves, our entertainers, our artists, have a far greater chance of positively reaching the minds of the younger cohort. And certainly they should be facilitated if, in fact, the messaging is positive. It is in that context, sir, that I welcome word that our Education Minister, Dr. the Honorable Dana Morris Dixon, facilitated by the Honorable Oliver Grange, our Culture Minister, had a meeting with the Spice towards discussing the way forward. I'm optimistic that a positive understanding may be arrived at. But that said, I don't intend to focus on that issue much today, because I will be discussing today 4 topics that, when the various studies are done, they occupy the minds and the concerns of the Jamaican people. You have the matter of cost of living, housing, corruption, and national security. I'll be speaking to those today. But before I do so, I have the honor of addressing the 2024-2025 State of the Nation debate at an important juncture for the future of our country. This address, sir, comes at a time when the administration is moving to pursue the goal of making Jamaica into a republic. I fully support this move. And I'm aware that to be successful, this move has to have the support of the opposition. I wish to point out that I strongly believe the reformation of Jamaica's constitutional arrangement is best pursued on a phased basis. And I hear the pejorative word piecemeal being tossed about. I believe the issues are so weighty, sir, that there's a greater chance of success when we pursue this endeavor on a phased basis. There is nothing pejorative or unprincipled about a phased approach to constitutional reform. Therefore, I find it very unfortunate the stance of the opposition not to support passage of the bill to dispose of the UK-based monarchy as head of state if the weighty issue of Jamaica's final court is not settled at the same time. I believe that stance is unproductive and unfortunate. As a matter of fact, I believe equally puerile is the unfortunate move of the opposition to, I hear the opposition leader describing it as pause their participation in the Joint Select Committee of the CRC. I find it very, very unfortunate. There's a view among some in Jamaica that Jamaicans don't care about the issue of our head of state, whether it's a Jamaican or a UK national. I tend to disagree. I believe there are significant cohorts of the population which do care about our identity as a country. And therefore, in this a year of crucial decision-making, I encourage the people of Jamaica to take note of the stance taken by the opposition leader, an individual who, not too long ago, said he had to pray and agonize about whether he wanted to give up his own personal allegiance to the UK, that his stance is further delaying the national goal, the process of having a Jamaican as head of state. I find it quite offensive to the sensibilities of us Jamaicans that an individual who not too long ago said he had to pray and agonize about whether he wanted to give up his own personal allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, that his stance is delaying pursuit and achievement of this important national goal, which is crucial to our identity as a people. I therefore urge the people of Jamaica, those who care about defining our national identity as a people, to ensure that the opposition leader and the institution that he leads face a political consequence for their important stance, for their unfortunate stance, which has delayed a process which I believe is very crucial to our identity as a people. You would never be able to tell, sir, based on the doom and gloom presentation of the opposition Senate leader last week, but we addressed the State of the Nation debate at a time when business and consumer confidence are on the increase. and the rate of poverty, which was at approximately 21% when the administration of Prime Minister Andrew Holness came to office, has declined or is projected to decline to near 12% when the next evaluation is published. Much to be done, sir, but it is clear that the intentional policies of the current administration is working towards easing the burden on the poor and dispossessed. This address also comes at a time when many countries across the globe are grappling with spiraling inflation, which touch and concern the issue of cost of living. But the administration has been able to keep the inflation rate at between 4% and 6%. There is no doubt, sir, that as far as inflation is concerned, Jamaica under this administration is moving in the right direction. This State of the Nation address also comes at a time when many of our prominent regional partners, who have more natural resources than us, are facing double-digit increases in murders and violent crime for 2024. But again, thankfully, due to the intentional and deliberate policies of the government of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, coupled with the hard work of the men and women of the security forces, during the year 2024, murders declined by approximately 19%, and violent crimes have decreased by 14%. Much work to be done, sir, concerning the fight against crime, but it is important to note that steady gains are being made. As we contemplate the state of the nation, another barometer we are to assess is the opportunities made available to people to provide for themselves. And this administration has been intentionally taking deliberate steps to improve the purchasing power of Jamaicans. And I readily accept there's much, much more to be done. But it must be acknowledged, it is no small feat that under this administration, unemployment is at a record low, well below 4%, coming from a high of 13.5% when the PNP administration was in office. Put simply, sir, more people have jobs, more people have the opportunity to put bread on their tables under the government of Andrew Holness than at any time in Jamaica's history. So, I said to my fellow Jamaicans, I know that there are many issues to be addressed, but I genuinely believe when we assess the key indicators which tell us how our society is doing, crime, inflation, employment levels, among others, there is no doubt that Jamaica is moving in the right direction, and it is important that this trend continues. Because the trend continuing means that even if there's an individual or many individuals who have not benefited, that there's a greater chance, there's a greater likelihood of them benefiting if there's continuity in the complexion of, or the nature of the political directorate which has charge of the country. And this is so because you have an administration that has not only been able to keep the economy stable, but an administration that is fiercely committed to ensuring that as many people across Jamaica benefit from the gains of a stable economy. I wish to make a few quick comments on the matter of crime and violence and national security. You know, there are philosophers, for example, Émile Durkheim, a French philosopher, and Karl Marx, a German, who they differed in terms of what they posited, but they were agreed on the fact that deviance is a necessary part of society. I won't debate that much today. Suffice to say, the fact of the matter is, I think we can all agree that one life lost to violent crime is one too many. And certainly over 1,000 murders in a country as small, an island as small as Jamaica, small meaning geographically, Too many, way too many. I can certainly recall, sir, in 1997, under the administration of Percival Patterson, when murders for the first time breached the dreaded 1,000 mark in terms of persons murdered per calendar year. But that said, and that context laid, when gains are made, they must be fairly and honestly acknowledged. And it is in that context that I wish to commend the National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, and the Police Commissioner, Dr. Kevin Blake, and the hard-working men and women of the JDF, and importantly, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, on the double-digit decline in murders and violent crime. I am confident, sir, given the intentional policies of the Prime Minister and Dr. Chang, and how particular they have been about making unprecedented investments in national security, in the area of border protection, building the intelligence capabilities of the security forces, upgrading the technology that the police have available, that Jamaica, no pun intended, has a good shot at a further significant decline in violent crimes this year. It is important that all stakeholders assist the police and the administration in securing or achieving this important objective, even as we do not shirk away from the fact that it is the administration of the day that is to take the lead in terms of making the nation safe and secure. That said, sir, concerning the crime fight, I have been disappointed with the comments in the public domain, in particular coming from the opposition, on the matter of violent crime. A suggestion has been made that the policymakers deserve no real credit for the decline in murders, and that the statistics which show a major decline might not be dependable or reliable. I believe that posture adopted by the opposition spokesman on national security is not appropriate. And I'm happy I have the opportunity to tell him to his face. I believe it's shameful and unbecoming. Imagine, sir, the method used to tabulate crime statistics over the years, when murders increased from approximately 414 in 1989, 1990, and went to 1,670 odd in 2005. That method has not changed. It is the same method used when murders under the watch of the erstwhile Security Minister and former MP for Central Manchester cumulatively went up by 6%. It is the same method used now to tabulate the statistics, which show a decline in violent crime by 14% and 19% as far as murders is concerned. So to now question the process of tabulation, I believe is not only hypocritical, but it shows wanton disregard for the hard-working efforts of the men and women of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And you know, sir, the move by the opposition spokesman and his surrogates to call into question and discredit the decline and the statistics, I believe is of great embarrassment to the opposition when we consider that the comments have come from an opposition spokesman who, when he was Security Minister and murder spiraled, he appeared on the verge of weeping and he begged for divine intervention. And he said, despite the best efforts of the administration of which he was a part, he said, despite the best efforts of the administration of which he was a part, the gains were, the way he mumbled it in us, so I could barely hear. He said the gains were low and slow. That's what the then Security Minister said. So I said to the people of Jamaica, much more to be done. This administration, however, has begun to obtain positive outcomes in moving to create a safer society. And we should remember the past and reject efforts by the opposition to get us to go back to an era of weak leadership when they had the opportunity to lead on the fight against crime. They were weak and indecisive when the lives of Jamaicans were plundered. They sobbed and begged and sent an unfortunate message to criminal elements. We cannot afford to go back to such weak and jelly-back leadership as far as the fight against crime and violence is concerned. Can't afford to go back, sir. You know, another thing I find unfortunate, sir, is the move by the opposition spokesman to discredit the efficacy of states of public emergency. The fact of the matter is that in the majority, the vast majority of divisions, they have been declared. There has been a decline in violent crime and murder. Quite frankly, when the opposition spokesman suggests that states of public emergency do not work, he's not speaking the truth. The data does not support that assertion. And it's not just about saturation policing. The SOE or the SOPs, as some allude to them, present the opportunity to the security forces to take violent criminals outside of the space, and they increase the opportunity or the likelihood of members of the community cooperating that solid cases may be built. The suggestion by the opposition spokesman that states of public emergencies do not work is disingenuous and should not be believed. The opposition spokesman, sir, should understand that while he's entitled to his own opinion, he's not entitled to his own facts. And we will call out misinformation for what it is. You know, sir, if I should give the opposition spokesman some credit, I would credit him for being consistent. Because I recall when I was in media, and Senator Sinclair would recall, a series of savage murders occurred in St. James, and gunmen were trading bullets in the town center. I had asked the then security minister about the possibility of a SOE, and he dismissed it. Suffice to say, this administration came to office and had the, can I say, the balls? Had the balls to put in place states of public emergency. And there were 200 fewer murders compared to a year when states of public emergency were not used. I should say we had the guts. We had the guts.
Sir, 1 minute, Senator Pitsenley. Senator Brown.
I believe the standing order requires us to use language that are not offensive.
Me, you tell that?
Yes, you, I am telling that.
Thank you.
And I believe the use of a word, 5-letter word beginning with B, by the member. And having regard for the little angels you just welcomed to the chamber was inappropriate. And maybe the member would wish to
Not
withdraw
repeat
that.
it. And not repeat it. Thank you. Senator, continue, please.
Thank you, sir. In this, a year of important decision-making, I invite the people of Jamaica to recognize that a fundamental difference between this administration and the opposition is that we are prepared to lawfully utilize all the tools in the box of crime fighting in order to achieve a highly important objective: to save Jamaican lives, to preserve the ultimate constitutional right of Jamaicans, the right to life. The final point I'll make on the matter of violent crime and murders included is that the statistics over the years paint an interesting picture. let's go back as far as 1972, because to assess the state of the nation, sometimes you have to recall where you are coming from. When the Manley administration came to power, they inherited a year when 145 Jamaicans were killed in the former calendar year. When that administration left office, 889 Jamaicans murdered in their final year, a massive 449% increase. The current the JLP administration came to office, inherited a calendar year where 889 Jamaicans were killed, and left it at 414. Still too many, but a massive 58% reduction in murders. The Patterson administration came to power, 1989 to 2007. In their final year, 1,584 Jamaicans cut down, murdered. The Jamaica Labour Party administration came back to office, having inherited a rate of 1,584 in the previous calendar year, and left it at 1,130, a 29% decline. The member has exited the chamber, but enter Peter Bunting as Security Minister, inherited a year of 1,130 Jamaicans murdered, left it at 1,208 in 2015, a 6% increase. Now, I know some people do not like when you allude to statistics when murders are concerned, because the truth of the matter, sir, is that every life counts, and one person cut down to violent crime is one too many. However, the use of these statistics, the use of this data is not to discount that fact, but to make a powerful point that the data suggests that murders decline during a term of the Jamaica Labour Party administration, and when the PNP is in power, there is an increase in murders. As we assess the current state of the nation, I believe that's a very important fact for the people of Jamaica to consider. I wish to make a few comments on the matter of housing in Jamaica. The opposition spokesman on housing spoke about the portfolio, and he suggested that the current administration has been underperforming in the area of housing compared to what transpired when the former administration was in office. So again, I wish to interrogate the data. I won't proffer opinion. I will put forward the data. Between 2016, sir, and 2024, that's the consecutive terms of the current administration, the National Housing Trust started building 27,901 housing solutions. During that phase, 20,805 were completed. That's between 2016 and 2024. Over 62,900 mortgages were created during that phase. In fact, I'm advised, sir, that's an unprecedented number of houses built during consecutive terms of any administration in Jamaica. But let us break it down a bit further. Between 2012 and 2016, the last term of the PNP administration, well under 12,400 housing solutions were built, about 46 fewer. But during the current term of the administration, between 2020 to the end of 2024, the National Housing Trust, which operates under the auspices of the Office of the Prime Minister, under the leadership of Dr. Holness, has completed the building of 14,136 housing solutions. The fact is, sir, during the current term, this administration, via the National Housing Trust, has built approximately 2,000 more housing solutions when compared to the last term of the PNP administration. So, when the opposition spokesman on housing suggested that this administration has been underperforming compared to what came before, he's not speaking the truth. In fact, misled the Parliament of Jamaica And the data shows that what he intimated to the Parliament is false. But, sir, I believe it's important to correct the record of the Parliament, even as we acknowledge that there is much, much more to be done. We aspire to build more houses for the people of Jamaica, and indeed, we will get it done. And I believe the issue of housing should ideally be addressed outside the realm of partisan political sparring, which unfortunately the opposition introduced to the debate. The opposition spokesman's move as well to disparage the new social housing program, which has delivered over 280 houses and benefited almost 1,000 Jamaicans who were in dire need, I find unbecoming and unfortunate. I truly believe, sir, and I've been around the country, and I see the joy, not just among the people who are directly benefiting from the social housing, but the entire community is happy for the individuals. I truly believe that this new social housing program will be remembered by Jamaicans as one of the most impactful programs put in place by our visionary Prime Minister, who did not benefit from any sweetheart deal, sir. Came from humble beginnings, lived in a board house, and is committed to ensuring that as many Jamaicans as possible have the opportunity to enhance their standard of living. On the matter of housing, I must add, though, that I am encouraged by a word from the Prime Minister. The administration is focused on making available more houses, in particular to what's referred to as middle or low-income Jamaicans. The quicker we get this done, the better. We acknowledge that more needs to be done in that regard. Before I segue from the issue of housing, I wish to comment on the matter of Operation Pride, because the opposition spokesman on housing again introduced it into the debate, and he suggested that Operation Pride was a good program, a program which was conceptualized under the Patterson administration. He suggested that the program enumerated to the benefit of the people of Jamaica. Well, sir, I have been watching current affairs for many years, more than 2 decades. And that submission to the Parliament by the opposition spokesman, I find to be among the most audacious piece of revisionist history that I've heard uttered in the Parliament. But let me remind Jamaicans who might have not been following current affairs then what transpired when the then opposition had the opportunity to supply housing to Jamaicans in need. The Operation Pride program, was mired in corruption. At least 6 people, including a well-known PNP activist. And to borrow a word Senator Bunting used last week, several PNP cronies were charged with 87 counts of conspiracy to defraud. They were accused under Operation Pride of pilfering, yes, stealing approximately 451 million of taxpayers' monies and putting into the pockets of their PNP cronies.
The time for the speaker has expired.
The Senator's time for speaking having expired, I'm asking that the Senate extend his time sufficient to complete his post-truth exposition.
Question is for the time to be extended so that the speaker may conclude his presentation. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Continue.
I understand the discomfort. I understand, but, I know the description of my submission so far, but there's a quote I'll read into the record soon that the member might find very interesting regarding his posture, but not yet. Not yet. I'll get there. Regarding Operation Pride, sir, the Jamaica Gleaner recalls it well. Operation Pride, the newspaper says, was launched by the then Patterson administration as a scheme to provide low and middle income housing solutions for Jamaicans. But questions about the expenditure led to the resignation of the then Housing Minister, Dr. Carl Blythe, and the subsequent action was taken against some PNP activists. An analysis of all the Operation Pride projects disclosed that over $2 billion of taxpayers' monies were squandered. End of quote. Over $2 billion, sir, intended to build houses for Jamaicans, were squandered and pilfered under the administration of the PNP. That, sir, is the legacy of the PNP when it comes on to housing in Jamaica. And no effort by the opposition spokesman to adjust the spectacles of history will hide that fact. The fact of the matter is that this administration, the administration of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, is strong on this issue, that the People's Housing Program should not be mired in corruption. Not a dollar of the people's housing money was to be squandered to corruption or used to buffer the pockets of criminal elements. The opposition spokesman, during his contribution to the debate, sir, commented on the matter of a senior official of the UDC who has given yeoman service to this country. And he called for him to step aside as the chairman of the UDC, following what building experts describe as minor variations from a permit regarding a property in Beverly Hills. So anybody who knows anything about development and housing will indicate to you that invariably there are variations in processes when these developments are pursued. Well, variations in the permit, I should say, when these developments are pursued, and there are processes to bring this to heel. But I was disappointed to hear absolute silence from the opposition spokesman on housing, Floyd Morris, when it was disclosed that a company owned by a member of his political party, a councillor, put up a building despite having absolutely no permit, and that building had approximately 4 stories, despite the application saying they had intended to build only 2. The silence, Senator Brown, the silence of the opposition spokesman on housing on this matter, and he's not in the chamber, because I had intended to tell him to his face. But his silence on that matter compared to his posture concerning the minor variation brings into question his credibility. Indeed, I believe his credibility to speak on matters of housing has been damaged by ostensible hypocrisy and inconsistency. And it is indeed he who should consider his future as a spokesman on that portfolio area. I should make a few comments on the matter of the Jamaican economy. Because again, when we listen to the opposition spokesman on security, Adam Burt, on matters concerning the Jamaican economy and by how much is expanding, people who aren't following the figures, the data, may come away with the impression that his side of the political fence has a stellar track record of causing the Jamaican economy to expand. And I won't go back as far as the 1990s, but I had a glance at the economic data, 2012 to 2015. 2012, under the former administration, negative 0.6% expansion. 2013, 0.5%. 2014, 0.7%. 2015, 0.9%. An average of just under just over 0.29% when the PNP administration had a chance to manage the economic affairs of Jamaica. Let's compare that to 2016. Expansion of 1.4%, 2017, 1%, 2018, 1.9%, 2019, 0.9%, an average expansion of 1.4% when the Jamaica Labour Party administration came to office. There was a year of COVID-19, which it would be unfair to include in the data, negative 9.9% expansion, where the economy rebounded so impressively that by the year 2021, there was a 4.6% expansion. In 2022, 5.2%. The following year, 4.2%. And 2024, just under 1.4%. The administration of Prime Minister Holness has a more credible track record of causing the Jamaican economy to expand compared to anything the PNP has offered in the past. And no amount of spinning or misinterpretation of data will cause this truth not to be spoken into the record.
Be careful where you ask for.
That's your prerogative. Calm down. That's your prerogative.
Be careful what you wish for.
I wish to make a few comments on the matter
Be careful what you wish
of the economy,
You just make it.
which is stable. NIR is doing well. Inflation under control. Tax revenue is performing satisfactorily. And the administration had achieved over 10 consecutive quarters of positive expansion in the Jamaican economy. The submissions by Senator Bunting sought to minimize the impact of COVID-19 and weather events, including Hurricane Beryl. But look, I am confident that the core macroeconomic indicators are trending in the right direction, that key industries, including agriculture, are bouncing back. Tourism continues to do well, and there are new and emerging industries. I'm confident that not too long from now, the Jamaican economy will no doubt return to a path of positive expansion. And I say to all stakeholders, they can be confident this will transpire not too long from now. And when we contemplate the future trajectory of the Jamaican economy and ponder upon the current state of the nation, it's important to recall what we should not go back to.
Yes, very important. Yes.
As a young legislator who carefully took note of the FinSAC era of the 1990s and the 2000s and the impact it had on this country, setting our country back by decades, I'm compelled to indicate that we can't go back to that era of iniquitous policies that devastated the savings of many Jamaicans.
Suicide.
The wicked high interest rate policies of the former PNP administration. Thousands upon thousands of Jamaicans were hurt. Their lives were shattered, but the policies enumerated to the benefit of a few who were connected to the PNP, including a company owned by Peter Bunting and Mark Golding, which was investigated by an anti-corruption agency, the Office of the Contractor General, in what was known as the infamous Sweetheart Deal probe, and found to have benefited from millions of dollars of contracts involving public funds via processes which the Office of the Contractor General referred to as irregular and improper, and achieved via a potential corruption-enabling mechanism intended to benefit political cronies.
What were the words again?
The Office of the Contractor General said the company owned by Peter Bunting and Mark Golding benefited from US multi-million-dollar contracts involving public funds. And the OCG, the then anti-corruption agency, described the deals as irregular and highly improper and achieved via potential corruption-enabling mechanism intended to benefit political cronies. My point is simple. It is not complicated. As we contemplate the current state of the nation, sir, it would not be good to entrust the future direction of Jamaica in the hands of individuals who benefited from these iniquitous policies that hurt the lives of thousands upon thousands of Jamaicans. And I am not the only one who is of the view that the country should not be entrusted to the leadership of the current opposition. Because I'm going to read a quotation into the record, sir. I'm going to drink some water before I read this one. Yeah, man.
Source of misinformation.
I'm going to button my jacket as well. I am not the only one who is of this view that the country should not be entrusted into the hands of the current makeup of the leadership of the opposition. As supporting evidence, I read this quotation into the record. Quote, "You cannot dispose of your integrity. Integrity is something you have whether you are being observed or not." He launched his campaign on a platform of integrity, and he has abandoned it. He has abandoned it for political expediency. That disqualifies him from leading the party, and it disqualifies him from leading this great country. End of quote. Those, sir, are the words of Opposition Senator Donna Scott Motley. Words uttered a few years ago concerning the individual who she happens to sit beside, the opposition Senate leader, when he was mounting a campaign to lead the PNP. Yes, this disqualifies him from leading the party, and disqualifies him from leading this great country. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I concur with the words uttered then by Senator Scott Motley. There's a saying in Jamaica, sir, if a sea creature goes to the bottom of the ocean and tells you say it deep, you better believe him. I put it to you, sir. I put it to you, sir. Even by the submissions of their very own, the current leadership of the opposition is not qualified to lead Jamaica. And sometimes younger folks listen to us speaking in the parliament. Sometimes younger folks, sir, listen to us speaking and say, boy, I wonder if Fitzhenley is making a big deal about what transpired before and cautioning that we can't afford to go back to that era of governance. A former PNP cabinet minister described the FinSAC era as the greatest transfer of resources from the poor to those who are well off since slavery was abolished. Wow. Well, I will go one better in assisting Jamaicans to understand the kind of leadership that is on offer from the opposition and what transpired then and what we can't go back to. I will read into the record now a quote by a current member of the PNP shadow cabinet who lamented that era of PNP governance by saying, quote, like the majority of Jamaicans, I am tired of an administration that has grown tired. I'm tired of the murder rate. I am tired of corruption. I'm tired of unemployment and nepotism. That, sir, is our newspaper publication quoted now opposition Senator Lambert Brown as describing the former PNP administration. The title of the article said, "Brown comes out swinging against the PNP." The state of the nation, sir, is such that the opposition has not shown that it has grown from that era, which Senator Brown rightly described as characterized by corruption, high murder rate, and nepotism. And they have shown that they don't have a grasp of how to operate an economy in a way that enumerates the benefit of Jamaicans. Even by the words of their own, sir, the current opposition cannot be trusted with governing Jamaica. Even by their own words. I don't have much further to go, sir, but before I call time on my contribution, I must comment on the matter of corruption. I want to make some quick comments, Senator Brown, on the matter of corruption. Yes. Corruption is a matter the world over that does not identify by a unique political color. Both from a moral standpoint and a viewpoint of a country's economic well-being, it is important that the scourge be addressed and addressed strongly. I believe we can all agree on this fact. That's why this administration has moved to pass the MOCA Act and the Integrity Commission law, and we have given massive allocations on a yearly basis to support the funding of these agencies. There have been varying views concerning the efficacy of the Integrity Commission, which I won't go into today, including comments by the current opposition when it accused the Commission of being selective and entering into documents it tables into the Parliament or causes to be tabled in the Parliament, material which is consistent with the picture it wants to paint and leaving out other material. It shouldn't be forgotten that the opposition leader, the current opposition leader, proffered that criticism of the Commission. So, let me just leave that for now. However, I am concerned, sir, about constant information surfacing that suggests malfeasance at municipal corporations across the country. And I'm calling for deliberate efforts to be made to ensure the enhancement of checks and balances across these corporations, which have been in the news for the wrong reasons. We must ensure that we take another look at the systems which are supposed to ensure transparency and stop those who intend to pilfer public funds. The Manchester Municipal Corporation $400 million scandal comes to mind, where several were convicted. So too the illegal building saga and the hush money scandal dogging the opposition. Word is abound as well that inquiries are being made about the use of $70 million by the current administration of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. We have had allegations in the past of cronyism and nepotism at the Hanover Parish Council. And not too long ago, there was a MOCA raid into approximately $1 billion being fleeced from the corporation, which was led for many years, which is led and has been led for many years by Mayor Norman Scott. And instead of attempting to introduce some jocularity into the argument, I invite my opposition colleagues to contemplate that all these corporations are led by the PNP. Absolutely. I honestly believe, sir, that the opposition should take note of this fact and do some soul searching. I also urge the people of Jamaica to take note, because the question must be asked, sir. If we cannot trust the opposition with managing the affairs of the municipal corporations in a transparent manner and to deal honorably with public funds, how can we ever trust them with managing the affairs of central government? I believe as we contemplate the current state of the nation, sir, The answer is simple. They cannot be trusted. And on the matter of corruption, sir, I take note of a publication in the media where the General Secretary of the opposition party, the de facto CEO of the opposition party, was asked by a caretaker about why some PNP leaders in various divisions and constituencies got more funds compared to other PNP constituencies. And this is what the de facto CEO of the PNP said in response to questions about the use of KCC resources. The question was direct. I can tell you why that happened. That's because they, in a clear reference to the KCMC, put more money in the two divisions where we are going to have by-elections. So you're going to have a by-election in Chancery Hall and Denham Town. So they put more money in the divisions that we are going to have the by-elections. Can you imagine that, sir? The General Secretary of the opposition party was asked about why the KCMC allocated more resources in cash to some caretakers and MPs as opposed to other caretakers and MPs from the opposition party. And as opposed to saying, no, the KCMC is not in that business of giving monies or cash to caretakers, the CEO of the opposition party, which aspires to lead Jamaica, said, I can tell you why that happened. That's because they put more money in divisions where we are going to have by-elections. Can you imagine that, sir? And we are told as well in the media of conversations between a former councillor who now serves as an administrative staffer to Kingston's mayor, where the admin staffer told the caretaker, come collect cash, and commented, note well, the public should not know about this. Wow. Why? Why? No, Mr. President, you are a well-known exponent of the criminal law. In fact, I'd say you are among the leading exponents of the criminal law in Jamaica. And you would very well know, sir, that that sort of treatment of public funds is unlawful and corrupt. In fact, this scandal which has hit the PNP Secretariat and the leadership of the KCMC is not just corruption, sir. It is institutionalized, organized crime which entire Jamaica must condemn. Now, I'm heartened by word that a formal investigation is underway, but the General Secretary of the opposition party happens to be a member of an illustrious institution, which is very important to the good functioning of the democratic processes in Jamaica, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, where he incidentally would serve as an ombudsman. I believe, sir, that it would be appropriate for Dr. Dayton Campbell to resign as a commissioner of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, given the magnitude of this corruption scandal in which he's deeply mired. I believe it would be appropriate for him to, without further delay, tender his resignation as a commissioner of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. And you know, sir, I see the KCMC leadership has put out a statement saying no public funds were expended and the funds that were expended were not expended in a partisan manner. That statement is not worth the paper it is written on. And I'll tell you why. Even by the admission of the CEO of the PNP, the General Secretary, he indicated that the funds were used strategically when he was asked about KCMC resources, KSAMC cash. He indicated the funds were dispersed strategically, yes, in order to position ahead of the calling of a by-election. So the suggestion by His Worship the Mayor, Andrew Swaby, that there was no partisan disbursement of funds, of cash by the KCMC, I believe is untrue and is an insult to the intelligence of the people of Jamaica. I wish to comment, sir, on two more matters pretty quickly before I close, because I'm aware that there are sections of the Jamaican population which are searching for a difference in the posture and the policies of the current administration and the current opposition. It is likely to be a general election year, given that it is constitutionally due in September of this year. It is very likely. Senator Scott Martley, surely you know that the law, in the event of, surely as a lawyer, you know that in the event of natural disasters, there are provisions for delay, which we hope do not transpire. A responsible lawmaker would say it is likely. It is likely. So I put it to you, sir, that one key difference between the administration of Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the opposition is that we believe in putting money back into the pockets of Jamaicans and thereby increasing their purchasing power. We are confident that this is how you get the wheels of an economy turning. We believe that where possible, you cut taxation, and that is how you move towards easing the burdens on the people. You create opportunities for businesses to do well. On the other hand, we have a political party which forms the opposition. The members form the opposition, which has a track record of imposing billions of dollars of taxes on the people of Jamaica. In the last term, the PNP imposed $60 billion in taxes on the backs of the people of Jamaica. And again, when we highlight these things, the opposition spokesman has a way of saying, that's opposition spokesman security. Look how long ago that. Yes, look how long ago, 2012 to 2016, $60 billion in taxes imposed by the then PNP on the people of Jamaica. Well, I put it to you, sir, if you listen carefully to the utterances of the members of the shadow cabinet, it is clear that the PNP's philosophy of taxing Jamaicans has not changed under the leadership of Mark Golding. Not too long ago, the opposition spokesman on education suggested a special increase in GCT. Of course, that would dip into the salaries of Jamaicans, while the opposition spokesman on agriculture suggested an increase in taxes on all food imports, which again, it does not take a rocket scientist to know, will drive up burdens on the people of Jamaica. I wish to place on the record of Parliament, sir, my opposition to this expression of intention by the PNP via their two prominent spokespersons to increase taxes on the people of Jamaica should they have the opportunity to do so. I have vowed during my political career to always take positions which are in defense of the interest of the poor and dispossessed. I wish to say to the opposition spokesman and the Mark Golding-led PNP, this idea of additional taxes on the backs of the people, forget it. The PNP during the last term imposed $60 billion in taxes on the people of Jamaica. And quite frankly, sir, this talk from the PNP about new taxes, this fixation with taxation has doubled my resolve to work hard to ensure that the PNP does not again get the chance to pursue policies which not only stifle the local business sector, but are tantamount to them again seeking to put them foot on the neck of poor people in Jamaica. I say to the opposition, we, the people of Jamaica, will not allow you to, via your fixation with taxation, send up food prices. Little did we know that when the opposition speaks about time come, sir, they were saying time come for new taxes, time come for taxes on GCT, etc. It is clear, sir, that the current opposition does not understand that it takes creativity and people-centered thinking to get an economy moving in the right direction. This is a concept fully understood by the government of Prime Minister Andrew Holness. And as I close, as I close, the national dialogue on the current state of the nation is such that I feel compelled to make this point. The government of Prime Minister Andrew Holness is not just a macroeconomic stability administration. We put the interests of the people first, and we have demonstrated that we have the skill set to put in place policies which benefit the people of Jamaica. It is this administration that cut income tax twice. We have increased pensions. We have more than doubled the minimum wage from the abysmal $6,500 it was under the PNP. And we have made strides in taking scores of Jamaicans off contract work, giving them permanent employment with additional benefits, thereby improving their standard of living and job security. We have cut JUTC fares. The administration via the PATH program has increased support to the most vulnerable in society by over 30%. We have disbanded tuition fees for critical hard trust programs because we believe in giving people a chance to obtain a skill and step up in a life. This administration has made unprecedented investment in making communities safe and enhancing working conditions and service delivery in the medical care system. And we have not too long ago given back $20,000 to thousands of Jamaicans via the Income Tax Rebate Initiative. And I can confidently say, sir, there's much more to come, not because I have any intel about plans to be announced, but because I know that our Prime Minister and this administration he leads understands that at the core of our mandate is to continue to put in place a range of policies which make better the lives of the Jamaican people. Mr. President, I am a strong believer in the courage and determination and talents of the people of Jamaica. I keep alluding to it. A former prominent public official once said, "There's nothing wrong about Jamaica that cannot be fixed, about that which is good and right about our blessed island." He's right. And even as we confront the challenges of our time, I am confident that Jamaica, under the leadership of Prime Minister Andrew Michael Holness, will continue to make steady gains in the interests of the people of Jamaica, land we love. President, thank you, sir. God bless you. And may God continue to bless Jamaica, land we love.
Senator Abka Fitzhenley. That was a paid political broadcast.
Apply for your Sagicor Bank Preferred Prepaid MasterCard today. Load your remittances for everyday spending. Receive cash transfers from any local bank. The time by Sagicor Bank is
9 minutes to 8.
Imagine opening a bank account without ever leaving your home. Well, at CIBC Caribbean, we've changed the game. Open a new CIBC savings or checking account completely online using your computer or phone, anywhere, anytime. No need to visit the bank, no waiting in line. Just apply, verify, and sign your documents, all online. It's secure, seamless, and 100% digital. Open your new CIBC account by applying online today.
8 minutes going up to 8 o'clock. We're going to go to Trinidad and Tobago now, where the Twin Island Republic's Commissioner of Police, Erla Haywood Christopher, has been suspended from office. This pending the outcome of a criminal investigation into the acquisition of 2 sniper rifles for the Strategic Services Agency, the SSA. Haywood Christopher was not fired, contrary to media reports.
She was served with a notice of suspension by the Police Service Commission in Trinidad on January 31 while in custody. The chairman of the commission, Dr. Wendell Wallace, said the commission received communication dated January 30 from DCP Intelligence and Investigation indicating you were cautioned, informed you are a suspect in an ongoing investigation into misbehavior in public office, and were then informed you were under arrest. Haywood Christopher was arrested at her office at the Police Administration Building on January 30.
She was released from custody on February 1 after investigating officers led by DCP Suzette Martin. Martin acted on the advice of Director of Public Prosecutions Roger Gaspard.
The PSC also wrote to the President, Christine Kangaloo, the same day with its nomination for acting appointments to the offices of Police Commissioner and DCP. We have with us now lead editor for news gathering at the Guardian newspaper in Trinidad, Kejon Haynes.
Good evening, Mr. Haynes.
Hi, good evening.
Let me hear you again, Kejon.
Hi, I hope you're hearing me.
Yes, it's Kejon.
Kejon.
Okay.
First of all, Kejon, for Jamaicans who do not know the background to this, help us. What is the former the commissioner is being accused of?
In Trinidad, there's one person in the entire country who has the ability to grant a legal firearm, and that is the Commissioner of Police. Within that, there are certain types of weapons permitted in the law. Within that, there are certain people who have the ability to acquire these certain weapons under the law. What the commissioner is being accused of here is signing off on a weapon that was meant to go to one agency, believed to be the Defense Force, but went through another agency, which is the SSA, which is an intelligence agency akin to, let's say, the CIA in the U.S., and that agency is not supposed to have that type of weapon. So that's where we stand. So it's if you want to bring it down to the bare minimum, she signed the wrong paper, and she put her signature on the wrong paper, and now she finds herself in a little bit of trouble. The background to that is the SSA is under serious investigation because there were some very questionable hiring practices that emerged last year, which required several people to be fired from that agency.
Yes, and we here in Jamaica, hearing these allegations, consider this just extraordinary. Is there any precedent for something like this happening in Trinidad? The commissioner being questioned in essentially a criminal probe?
Yes, it happened, I want to say, just before I was born. I want to say mid-80s. Let me age myself there. Randolph Burrows, the commissioner at the time, a very controversial figure at the time, and he was under investigation for misbehavior in public office as well. That was in the 80s. But since then, no, there has not been that.
So what is the status of the investigations tonight, where the commission and this whole thing is concerned?
Well, that's fascinating because there was a press conference today where they would say absolutely nothing. If they wouldn't say who was given the instruction, because who was given the instruction to charge, they wouldn't say what evidence they would have had at the time. They wouldn't say what evidence they're still looking for. I mean, and some of these things you expect in a police probe, they're not going to give you all the information. But there really was nothing forthcoming in terms of the status of the investigation beyond to say still under investigation.
So has she been charged?
No. She was released without charge, and that's where everything gets tricky. Now, if she was charged, you can make a case for why she should be removed as police commissioner. If she's without charge and she's just a person of interest, it makes it a little bit harder, considering the person who has been spearheading this investigation, Deputy Commissioner of Police, was recently charged for dangerous driving. So you have a Deputy Commissioner of Police who was facing the court, still working as normal, a police commissioner who's not facing any charges, being suspended without charge.
And what,
yeah.
What has this done to the morale for not only in the political establishment, but the population at large? Because your country is now under a state of emergency, yes?
Yes.
And having the police force essentially marred in controversy, what has been the reactions from the political class and just ordinary citizens?
Yeah. It's interesting because it's one. We were joking today that it's one of the few times that both sides of the political aisle are in agreement that the TTPS has made a mess of this entire debacle. Confidence in the TTPS and the police, you can imagine, was already low given the crime rate and everything.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then this comes up, and you really have to wonder what are you all doing? What is happening here? Now the police, we will put that question to the police today, and they of course would say, "Oh no, the morale is high. We are still one unit, and we function together, and we are, they'll save face." The rank and file, on the other hand, are saying, "This is a mess. This is clearly some sort of push for leadership." And it's been said before. Like, you will find every time there is a substantive commissioner, there's going to be somebody underneath nipping at your toes, trying to get your position, trying to undermine.
Keejan, we're out of time, but thank you so much for giving us the perspectives from your end. Thank you so much, Keejan Haynes. He is the lead editor for News Gathering at The Guardian in Trinidad and Tobago. That is what you call bacchanal.
Can you imagine that happening in Jamaica?
No. Bacchanal.
Trinidad
Anyway.
and Tobago is a self-respecting member of CARICOM. This is shameful.
Well, that's where we're going to leave it. Thanks to our producer, Dana Davey, our technical operator, Andrew Anderson, and, of course, members of the news and production team led by Cara Powell. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.
Good night.
Introducing Domus Windows and Doors, the